this one of time we haven't slept 2 or 3 days, lost count.
And we were in the city,
Yeah.
and we had no way to get out of the city. Your grandmother was making Molotov cocktails.
Yeah,
She was in a production line of Molotov cocktails. We could have this phone conversation completely naked.
It was the officer completely naked in the shower.
Because you just lob bombs, and you could throw enough of these bombs, and they fall on top of people. And they have 10 times as much artillery as Ukraine.
You're listening to Just Fake It Coming to LA podcast. Now here are your hosts, Nora and Maryna.
Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Just Fake It Coming to LA. Here I am, Maryna, with you today. My co-host Nora is traveling currently, so we say hi to her. And using this opportunity again, I'm doing a special episode with my husband about our love story. And if you missed, go check out part 1. Because it is insane, guys. And you definitely should hear it. Hi, Gene, again. Hi, love. How are you feeling?
Good. I mean, it's kind of very emotional to actually like go back to that time.
Yeah.
And think about it. Especially in the last episode, we were talking about those initial, I guess, 4 days of the invasion. Mm-hmm. So the invasion starts. You know, I start heading your way, you start heading towards the border, all this stuff happens, and eventually, somehow, by some miracle,
we meet.
We meet each other at this refugee camp at a school in Ubla,
Slovakia.
The border of Slovakia.
Anyway, we're gonna keep telling our story. It is part 2. Again, if you guys haven't seen part 1, you definitely should go check it out. And we're going to keep going. So at this point of time, we meet at Ubla, as we just mentioned, school, refugee camp, craziness. I grab grandma, grab cats. We go into the car. The driver you hired, who did not definitely expect.
No, he didn't expect it. But he was, you know, he knew exactly what was going on. He was Slovakian. He was on our side. Mm-hmm. And basically, again, at this point in time, like, money wasn't really an object from the standpoint of, like, you know, hiring a car or whatever it is. I'm like, well, whatever it takes, just get us there. And he was also just super supportive. Like, hey, like, if we need to turn around, let's go this way. You know, because I had to change directions a few times on the way to the refugee camp, right?
Crazy.
But essentially, I ended up booking a hotel room.
Yeah.
In Košice. Mm-hmm. Which is the kind of the big city near this border crossing, right? It's about, I think, half an hour or something like that. And so we jumped in the car and we were heading towards this hotel room because you guys needed to sleep.
Yeah, we did. We definitely need to sleep because this one of time we haven't slept 2 or 3 days, lost count, right? So it's really messing with your head and everything, and we're hungry and we're dirty and we haven't slept. So we're going to this hotel, and again, we have this grandma, my friend's grandmother, with us. And at this point of time, I'm still not in the reality, right, of what is happening. And I'm like, well, we're gonna, you know, book another room for her.
Yeah, and she has these bags of cats.
There's 2 cats.
Because you can't really tell that the cats are in the bag.
The cats' name, by the way, Alisa and Dimka. Yes.
And they're meowing.
They're meowing.
They're really annoying.
Again, those cats, they haven't eaten, drink water, or went to bathroom for 3 days too. So you guys should understand, it's a miracle they're still there.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we go to this hotel, and I'm like, you know, Gene has a room. we're gonna rent a room.
I was trying to get another room for.
We're trying to get another room, but again, back to reality. There's no rooms available. Nothing is there. So, well, the only option we have is all to go to this one hotel room, and again, it's like very tiny, just a standard hotel room, like just the bed, the table, and the bathroom, right?
Yeah, it's like a Hilton or something. It was like very basic.
Anyway. We go there, and, you know, we, as nice people, we offer grandma a bed, right? We're like, you can take a bed. We're just gonna figure it out.
Yeah, because I can sleep on the chair or whatever.
Yeah, there was like a chair, but she says, no, because she's this woman of character that she cares about others more than herself a little bit. And she's like, no, you take the bed. I'm just gonna like lay here. I'm just gonna figure something out.
She makes herself like a little nest by the
we
wall.
offered her a chair. She didn't want a chair. But at this point of time, we'll let cats go into the bathroom. We'll lock them in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Just a little side note. Gene is allergic to cats. But at this point of time, it
doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. And we will let them go in the bathroom. We hope they figure out we'll put food for them. Blah, blah. And this grandmother, Nina Lukinishna, she decides, she doesn't want to be on a way of anybody. I believe she feels uncomfortable at that point of time as well, right? She's like, I don't want to like be on your way and stuff, so I'm just gonna lay here on the floor by the door.
And we cannot convince her to take the bed.
We cannot. Honestly, I tried, and then at this point I'm like, whatever.
Well, yeah.
I'm so done. I am so done.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't want it, I'll take it. This point of time, I touch the bed with my head and I pass out. I have no idea what's happening next.
Yeah.
And you have idea what's happening next a little bit, because
I was
out.
I have that's actually probably, at least for us and for our relationship, probably one of the most important pictures.
Okay.
Is that I took a picture of you sleeping in my arms and I posted it to kind of let everybody know, our friends and stuff like that I found you.
Okay.
And that picture is on my Instagram.
You guys can go check it out on Gene's page. It's
but I mean, they'll find it if they need to. But February 28th.
February 28th.
That picture,
Great picture.
It's I don't know. It's
No, it is. It is a very, very important moment. Anyway, I'm passed out. Grandma's on the floor. I have no idea what Gene is doing. Sleeping, not sleeping, taking pictures of me. I don't know.
That was already in the morning after we woke up, and you're still asleep. I wasn't doing it. Okay. It's just like that. After the morning, after we.
Okay. Okay. So, yeah. So I'm out, and as I know later, somehow at this point of time, information somehow being passed that we're at this hotel. Mm-hmm. I don't remember how, but Nika knows that we're there. She passes this information to her mom, who is the daughter of the grandmother. This makes sense, right? So she and her husband, they come from Germany all the way. They drive to Slovakia right now to pick up grandma. So they show up at the hotel early morning because, again, they're trying to do it as fast as they can. And the only point of contact they have is me, who is pass out. And I'm like not picking up the phone, not reacting to any outside world, right? So they're in the hotel. They know that we're there. They're trying to reach me.
Yeah, they're trying to call up from the front desk.
They're trying to call on my phone. They're trying to call up in the room. They're like, nothing.
We're dead asleep. We just can't.
We're dead, right? And at this point of time, the husband of Veronica's mother, he starts like, why are we here? Why were we rushing if they're not even like answering and picking up? Like, what is this? So he's getting pissed, but he doesn't understand the whole situation, right? So I think at some point they're like in this hotel, they're like, we have to go, give us their room, we're gonna wake them up by ourselves. Right? So I don't know how they convinced the hotel, but they get to our room.
Either they got to our room, right? Or finally the hotel called up and it woke me up.
Oh, it woke you up?
Because I believe I went downstairs and I found them in the lobby and I brought them up.
Oh, okay, because I don't know.
But it was like a shock to me because I didn't know this was happening. I did not know who these people were. Whatever it is, but somebody like the hotel was calling the room. Okay, and it was like, there's people down here.
Okay,
trying to pick up this grandmother, Nika's grandmother, right? And eventually, I guess I
put everything. I
put two together and I head downstairs. Okay, and I bring them up.
Okay, and at this point of time, grandma's under the door. So can you imagine this? Like, again,
it was very embarrassing.
It was very embarrassing because like we opened the door
and she refused to sleep in the bed, and she made a nest by the wall.
So she's on the floor sleeping. Cats are yelling in the bathroom, and I'm in the bed just pass out, just like no sign of life in me. So in their heads they think that I'm so irresponsible and bad person who put their grandma on the floor. Yeah. and just myself just sleeping and not paying attention to anybody. So I apologize, but it was not like this.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, so again, just this story, it has so many sad and funny moments and beautiful moments. It's just like full of all those like crazy memories. Anyway, they pick up grandma.
Yeah.
Success. They get her. They get cats. Everybody's happy. They're on the way to Germany. We're together. You take me to have food finally, and it was great.
Yeah, there's like a cute like street. We walked down and we found like breakfast somewhere.
Okay, we have breakfast. I'm coming back to reality slowly, like because at this point in time, I have no idea which city I'm in, which hotel we're in, where are we, what's happening. I don't know.
Yeah, and we're trying to figure out what the next step is.
Yeah, because like,
and I still have this apartment.
Yeah,
that I
in
rented
Krakow.
in Krakow because I thought I was expecting people there, and it's like an apartment had like
and we had only one night at the hotel, and then it was booked again, right?
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah. There was no way to rebook the night, and we were in this city, and we had no way to get out of the city.
Yeah, because we're like my brain, who's still not accepting everything that's happening. I'm like, let's rent a car. You know,
we try to go rent a car.
There's no rental cars anywhere in any city. Everything's rented out. Nothing is there.
And it's the same problem as it was to get to Slovakia.
Yeah.
Where there's no trains that were going to the city, at least across the mountains to Poland. There was some very roundabout route.
Yeah.
That would take like 18 hours to do. But essentially we were stuck in the city. And we had no way. There's no hotel room. There's no way out. We were just there.
Yeah. Anyway, at this point of time, we're like, okay, there's no way to get out. And then I realized that my friend Nika, she's at the border, right?
And she's in a line of like...
She's in a line to cross the border, and she has a car, right? Yeah. And then they don't have grandma anymore, which means they have space. And I'm calling her, and I'm like, okay, and we're still touch basing, all the time, because like, yeah, grandma's picked up, grandma's okay, la la, you're okay, we're okay, everybody's okay, good. So we're still in touch, and I'm like, how long do you think it's still crossing? And she's like, I think we can cross in the evening. This evening we're gonna cross finally, and then we can make it to you. And then obviously they spent 2 nights
just not sleeping
or in a car in the line again. They also want to sleep. So okay, and we're trying to figure out.
We find a hostel.
Yeah, so we found a hostel
in a different town,
a smaller in Slovakia.
Prešov.
Wait, you remember? I
looked up some of these details.
Okay.
Because I was trying to remember, but the thing is, I don't remember. How did we get from Košice to Prešov?
I have no idea.
I think maybe we got the hotel to get us a taxi. I think that might have been how we.
Okay. So we got a taxi to another city.
Yeah.
To the motel room, which we found. We found 2 motel rooms there.
So yeah, it's a hostel.
It was brilliant. Yeah, like a hostel.
Like a student hostel. And we were able to get 2 rooms, one for us and then one for Nika and her sister. Because we're expecting them to cross the border
this night.
At some point that night. To be able to get through that 2-day long line, they were able to push through.
Yeah. So, and then we decided that they're going to take us to Krakow and they're going to be on their way to Germany where their family is. So we agreed. We're like, okay, this is a great plan. Let's do it. So we make our way to that hostel. Again, a lot of sleep involved because you have to recover, right? And at some point in the middle of the night, I think Nika makes it there with her sister.
Yeah, they get to the hostel.
They get there. We all meet. We all I think we even drank something. We bought alcohol or something because we really needed it. I think there was some alcohol involved.
Yeah, I think I got some beer for us or something.
Yeah. Anyway, and we go back to sleep. But again, circling a little bit back, at the same time, stuff is happening back home where my parents, while they were on the way to find... So some distant family member told them that somewhere in the mountains, there's this house that they can crash in and then they can stay for a couple of days, recover, and then decide what they're doing next. So they were trying to find this house. It was incredibly hard. They got lost, but finally they found it. They crashed there. But on the way, somewhere on the way between the border and this house, they've been stopped by this military checkpoint. And at this military checkpoint, they decide that they want to recruit my father to the army.
So they give him a draft notice
They gave him a draft
at the checkpoint.
And again, as we discussed before, my dad has been to military. He has a lot of experience. He's been there protecting our country for a long time, even though he's not a military person, right?
Yeah. So for context, right?
Yeah.
Russia initially invaded Ukraine in 2014, right, and kind of started this kind of like a hybrid conflict. And your father went and he fought in 2015, right?
Yes.
In 2015, and he was on the kind of the front lines, and I think he was in recon, right? He was like a recon infantryman, and so on paper, like in the records, your father is a badass.
Yeah.
You know, he's Rambo.
Yeah.
Right, but as you mentioned, after he ended that, that term of enlistment, he had a stroke.
Unfortunately, yes.
And just medically, he's just not.
Yeah, but he does not have any like medical kind of saying that he's not able to perform
officially from the military. No.
Officially from the military.
From the doctors, yes. But the military doesn't accept it unless it's like from their people. And so he's being drafted into the army.
Yeah, so he's been drafted at that point of time, and at that point of time, I feel like it's my fault. Because if he stayed at home, if it didn't go anywhere, there's a chance that he would not be drafted, right?
Because again, there's the whole thing was like men are not allowed to leave the country.
Yeah.
Men of military age, which is under 60.
Yeah.
Your father's like 54, 55 at this time.
At that point of time, he was 52.
Yeah, so he's an older man, right?
Yeah.
But men under 60 are not allowed to leave. And one of the things they were doing is that the men who seemed like they were trying to escape, right? So at this point in time, your father's far away from the capital, from Kiev. He's right. He's almost at the border. They're like, well, these are the first people to get the draft notices.
Yeah,
right.
People who are trying to escape.
If you're seen at a checkpoint and you're a man and you're near the border, you're the first person to get a draft notice.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of the other interesting thing I think about this situation, and we'll probably touch base on it, is this aspect of how a lot of the older men were the ones who are volunteering to fight. Like my uncle also volunteered in the first days, and he's still in the military there because he doesn't want his son to fight.
Yeah.
The older men are kind of stepping out because they're like, we don't want this burden to be on the shoulders of the young men. And I think that is a very honorable point of view, even though obviously older men are not as advantaged potentially in
technologies and
so
physically. Anyway, that's happening at the same time there. Again, obviously we're all worried. It's like, what's gonna happen? They're gonna take my father. My mom is gonna stay alone. Like, again, we also have all this older grandparents who are at this point of time. I had 4 grandparents, so 2 grandmas, 2 grandpas. One couple of them was living in a little village, right, which is behind
and this is my favorite story about your grandparents.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's because that captures the kind of whole spirit of the thing. Is that within the first days of the war, your grandmother was making Molotov cocktails.
Yeah,
she was in a production line of Molotov cocktails because the people were like, "Screw this! These tanks can come down the streets, but we're making Molotov cocktails.
Yeah,
we're gonna, we might not have weapons, but we're gonna blow them up."
Yeah. So basically, my grandma, she was 82, I think, at that point of time too. She was making this, Molotov cocktails. They were ready to go there and, fight. And I remember it was also hard to get them to go buy food. I was like, go buy food. And they were like, no, we don't need anything. We have everything. And I'm like, you need to go buy food. And the only way out, I convinced them to go and buy more food. Because again, the older people, they're like, they do not like overly. They don't want
to overspend. They don't want to waste.
Yeah. The only way I convinced them, I told them, what if the fight is happening and there's like soldiers who needs to be fed, who needs to be, You need to help them.
Mm-hmm.
You need to have food to be able to help others. That's the only thing that motivated her to go and buy food.
Yeah, and your grandma's a patriot.
Yeah.
She's a tough lady. She
Yeah.
is a patriot.
Anyway, at this point of time, they're in this little village, which is behind the dam. We have the Kiev dam, right? The Kiev Sea. And at this point of time, something happened. The dam was destroyed a little bit, the road crossing. So there was no way to get there.
Yeah, because the I think the Ukrainian military they blew up the bridge.
Yeah, so if they come from that way,
So they
no
couldn't
way
come from that
cross.
way, because if they blow up the bridge, it's hard for their armored vehicles and tanks to be able to cross over. So
Yeah.
they just blew the bridge up themselves.
Yeah, so basically my grandparents are isolated there at this point of time, ready to take all the, all the front line on themselves. And, it's a small village. There was it's winter. There was not many people there in winter. So there was maybe 5-10 people staying there. They all kind of collected together. They made the coalition and were ready to fight. Anyway, so they stay. My other grandparents also stay, but they're in the city this point of time. My parents are still in the west.
In the west, yeah.
In the west, but deciding to move home because, again, my dad being drafted, they didn't want him to be drafted in the west. They wanted him to be closer to home.
Basically, he got draft notice from one regional administration, and he didn't want to serve that administration because he would rather serve the one from his city.
Yeah.
And so basically they headed home so they can try to at least transfer, which administration he's going to be serving, which region, which.
Yeah, so all that is happening at the same time. Back to us, we are in some small town in Slovakia, Prešov, and we're making move to Krakow finally, where you rented this apartment. We go there, and Nika and her sister stay with us for a couple days.
They drive us across these massive mountains.
Yeah, through all the mountains.
I imagine this is what the Alps look like.
Yeah.
Just massive, snow-capped mountains.
And we make it to Krakow, and again, they stay with us for a couple days. We're all together. And then they decide to keep moving to go to Germany to their parents.
But as this is happening, Nika's also talking to Sviatoslav.
Yes. You can tell this part of the story.
Well, I don't know. I think because obviously we have our story going on, but at the same time, Nika, who's Maryna's closest friend, her now husband. Is he was in the military, right? And we can't really talk about where he was or what he was doing, but essentially he was in a very dangerous situation. But every once in a while, he would be able to call home, and and he basically proposed to her over the phone.
Yeah.
And later on, we're going to talk about how we were able to make it
to their
wedding. Yeah. And you actually brought the dress.
I did.
You delivered the dress all the way from Europe.
I did.
And so they also had a whirlwind.
Yeah, because their story, again, if we come back to their story, it's very inspiring because there's this situation right now and it's still happening. Men are trapped back home and drafted. All the women are free to go. Europe is open. You don't need visa. You don't need work permits. You can just go. You're going to be helped. They're going to give you money.
The European Union is doing an incredible job supporting people.
Refugees, but at the same time, a lot of women just left their men behind and went to Europe and, started a new life or something. Because it's a bad time, but it's also an opportunity for some people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but having Nika, who went out, stayed for a little bit in Germany, and then said, I can't do it. I'm coming back.
I need to get back to Sviatoslav.
I'm marrying you. And we're staying together. This is, guys, inspiration right there. Huge shout out to Nika and Sviatoslav. We love you. And we have our weddings, official signings, whatever, couple months apart. Yeah, so Another couple, another great love story. I'm sure they could talk about it as well.
Yeah.
Do the whole podcast on it. But back to us. What's happening next?
Okay, so again, like those first few days were just were really kind of jam packed, right? Once we made it to Krakow, we were trying to figure out what to do next.
Yeah,
Right.
'cause
So
we don't know.
you can't come to the United States yet.
I can't. I don't have any visa. I don't have
As we talked about,
anything.
we started our fiance visa process
Yeah.
before the war started,
Yes.
back in November.
Yes.
But that takes a long time, right? At the same time, we're trying to figure out what to do, right? Because like nobody who cares in the situation wants to just sit around and not do anything. You want to be somehow part of the
Yeah, because you have
the
this
effort.
guilt. You have the survivor's syndrome, right? That people are still there, trapped, fighting, scared, all this craziness, and we're kind of safe now.
and we're now
fine.
and now we're safe, right?
Yeah. So
and-
like, how can we help?
Right. So there's various like volunteer things that were happening.
Yeah.
Like, so we're trying to get our visa process to
Yeah.
happen. My dad in the United States, he starts working on getting medical supplies.
Medical supplies. Yes.
Right. Because at this point in time, like in Europe, I remember like early on in the first few days of the war, like there were no tourniquets on the entire European continent. They were all just gone. They're all bought up. There's like in peacetime, there's not enough of these like traumatic medical supplies available.
Yeah.
Available. There's no need for them
Yeah.
to that degree. But as soon as the war starts, these incredibly life-saving things, you need a huge amount of them. Like every single like first responder, every soldier, every police officer needs to be carrying these medical supplies on them because
To save lives.
to save
Absolutely.
lives. So my dad starts sourcing these things in the United States and starts trying to create this like pipeline of getting it delivered to Ukraine,
to right people.
to the right people in the early days.
Yeah.
And oftentimes just also people you just know. Right. So like even when my uncle joined,
Yeah.
volunteered, right? His like group, his troop, his platoon, or whatever it is. There were certain things that were missing that they weren't getting, and that family members were trying to help them get to support them, right?
Yeah.
But I guess let's talk about expediting the visa.
That's a funny little story. Yeah. I think it's very cute. So at this point of time, United States opens the programs for Ukrainians, and they're like happy to help, right? They're like, okay, we're here. We're gonna do our best to help you.
But it takes a while for those to come into play.
It still takes a while, right? So we decide that we're gonna inquire, right?
With the Homeland Security.
Was the Homeland Security Department that they somehow speed up our process because we're stuck here in this kind of sort of limbo in between countries. We can't go there. We can't go there. We're just stuck in Europe with, we don't know how long, what to do. Again, thank God you still had job, which was kind of basically supporting us.
Again, it was, the fact that Influx Marketing was was so supportive throughout this time. I was basically working evenings, to match.
Nights, evenings.
4 p.m. to midnight every day, this whole time. And, that was crucial for us.
Anyway, we apply for this expedite process on a website, or I don't remember how.
So we applied for this process.
Yeah.
We applied for it on the first day, as soon as I found you.
Yeah.
Right. And then basically get an email.
Yeah.
That like your expedite process has potentially started. Like there's it's an emergency line basically for the State Department / Homeland Security. I can't remember which department it falls under.
Exactly, yeah.
And they're like, we're gonna call you.
Yeah, we're gonna call you. Like the officer is gonna call you and like talk to you, and we're like, okay. So I remember I specifically made you save the phone number.
Yeah, because they say the phone number it's gonna be calling from.
Yeah,
on
and
the
I
email.
was like, save this number. We're gonna expect this call, And a couple days pass. Like we're still kind of waiting, but not waiting. Like we don't know. Like is it gonna call? Not call? We're not hoping for anything at this point of time. And I remember it's a morning or something at that point.
It was the middle of the night. It was like 11. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I looked up at my call record to see.
Okay, it's the middle of the night.
Yeah, so it's like 11:30.
Okay, so I'm getting ready to bed, and you went to take shower.
I was in the
At
shower,
this
yeah.
point. Gene is in the shower. I'm in the bed. His phone is just laying there, and all of a sudden, the phone starts calling. I look at it, and it's the officer, right? But again, I think at this point of time, they're talking to United States citizens or something. I don't know why exactly you had to pick up the phone.
I don't know, because I guess I'm the petitioner.
You're a petitioner.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, he had to pick up the phone. So I grab the phone. I rush in the shower. You're like in shock. What's happening? Again, fully, burst suit. I give you the phone. And I'm like, pick it up. Pick it up. So you're looking at this and you picking up and you having all this phone conversation.
I have this phone conversation completely naked.
With the officer completely naked in the shower.
And roughly how this conversation went is obviously these people are there to help.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm talking to him and I'm explaining the situation. Like, we would like to try to, if we expedite this visa process, so I can take you with me back to LA. We're talking about this stuff like that. And he's basically telling me like we're overwhelmed. Right. And he's telling me we're overwhelmed. We're not overwhelmed because of Ukraine. We're still overwhelmed because of Afghanistan. So they're still trying to get people out, like the people who supported us, our allies out of Afghanistan. So this is February, end of February. The Afghanistan situation we pulled out in August. So it's like almost 6 months down the line. And so they're like the crisis officer, people dealing with the crisis over there, and they're like we're overwhelmed, like I don't know how much we can help you right now. It's like there's so much going on. And I remember having this conversation with them. I'm like, listen, we'll be fine. If you can help us, please, whatever you can do, but also we'll be fine. We will figure it out. One way or the other. We have to wait. We'll have to wait. We will figure it out, right? And I think the fact that we had that conversation is like, and we kind of came from that, like that tone. Like, hey, listen, we would like help if you can help, but we can stand around. We will figure this out one way or the other, whether you can help us or not. I think that impressed him.
Okay. And
so after we had this 15-minute conversation, he's like, I'll see what I can do for you guys. I'll try to push it through, whatever it is. And basically, I think 2 or 3 days later, they're like, your expedite is approved, and 2 weeks.
Further instructions, basically.
Await further instructions. And then 2 weeks later, we got approval.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's not the end. Approval is not the end. It's far from the end.
Right. Because you have approval, but you still have to get this embassy portion.
Yeah. Anyway, we got approval, right? Again, very blurry. Everything it happened 2 years ago. But at this point in time, we're still in Krakow. And we've been there for quite some time. And we stayed there for how long in total we've been in Krakow? For 3 months?
Probably. So basically from beginning of March until we had to go to Germany.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that.
Okay, we'll get to Germany, right? And so we were there in Germany. We went to Germany probably late May. So what is that? That's like 3 months, right? So March, April, May. So it's 3 months.
So we stayed in Poland for 3 months. We've been doing some volunteer work.
Yeah, so
Gene was still working. I was kind of in a limbo again because like all this visa process was.
We should talk about the stuff that we're doing in Poland though, because
the volunteer.
I mean, it was absolutely heroic. With
it was heroic. Okay,
the people stepping up to help.
Yeah. So one of the things we did, it was kind of still first days. We went back to the border. It's like when we recovered, we kind of like pulled ourselves together and we're like, okay, how can we help? And obviously the first thing that comes to mind, the border, right? This is where the craziness happens. So you and me, we took the train.
To
to Przemysł. It's the border crossing in Krakow or in Poland, one of them. And we decided to go there and see what's happening. How can we help? But we didn't have any information, any context, anything. We just knew there's a train going there. So we're like, okay, let's go. And there was also American consulate or something that we decided to go.
Oh yeah, there's also another kind of. So since the State Department of the United States, the embassy left Ukraine before the war because they knew it was coming and they got everybody out, they set up a temporary like State Department whatever office like in the room of a hotel room in this border town in Przemysł. So essentially the people who were supposed to be in the capital moved right on the border.
So we decided to go there as well to check in with them, kind of like see what, where we're standing, what they can help us with, right? So we went to Przemysł. We were trying to get ourselves helpful, but I think we weren't really successful there. It's like, because again, we're like came to like one volunteering organization. We're like, how can we help? And they were like, we don't know. We're just like, again, they didn't really like respond. That they gave us some other phone numbers. They were like, oh, you can go here, and then in Krakow they gave us like some. I think they gave me like a website or something.
Yeah, and so Krakow is the big city.
It's a big city
there.
where everybody came because again, Poland is super friendly. They were helping a lot. Polish language is very familiar to Ukrainian language. It's important because it's similar. So people can kind of understand each other, which helps Ukrainian people and Polish people, again, because Ukrainian people, not everybody speaks English. Not everybody speaks perfect English. Not every Polish person speaks English, and having kind of this understanding is important when you're like a refugee, when you need help. Yeah. You need people to understand you and your needs, right? So we go back to Krakow, and I think I found this organization that was helping, and what they did, they had multiple locations, multiple kind of places of help. Was one of they were giving medicine. Yeah. They were giving some, hygiene products and just some whatever you needed.
I think the best way to kind of describe the scope of what they did was the department store.
Okay. Yeah.
Because that was wild. Yeah. So essentially, what they did is they took a department store that I guess it wasn't occupied, like a Nordstrom's that was empty. Yeah. And they built out this entire department store with donated clothes and items. Yeah. And what happened is basically people could just go to the store, the refugees, and everything's organized, sizes, shoes, clothes, and you just walk in and it's like shopping, but you don't have to pay for anything. Yeah, you just take what you need. Because most people left with nothing, right? Yeah. So you needed clothes for your kids, you needed warm clothes, all that stuff. And it was like a full, almost professional. I mean, it was a professional operation. It was a set up store. Yeah, it was like a full on store. Yeah. But the thing is, it was just, the refugees were able to come and go through the store and get what you need. Yeah. And everything was donated by people, and they were just doing a great job of organizing the stuff that was being donated, figuring out sizes, making sure people can easily find the things that would apply to them. And they did it not only with clothes. You remember we also worked in the pharmacy. Yeah, the pharmacy. It was actually crazy. Remember, because it started raining and it was like, oh my gracious. Yeah. Anyway. Keeping the line controlled during the rain was difficult. At some point in time, I think I had to start giving orders just to keep order. Yeah. So basically we started volunteering at these places, right? Doing these little things which seem not important, but they are important to us. They're important to other people. Again, if everybody... Well, you do whatever the little thing you can. Yeah. If everybody does his little things, that what keeps everything together, that what keeps people, alive, happy. And I think that was one of the major aspects of why the line held. Mm-hmm. Why Kiev didn't fall in 3 days. Because your grandmother was making Molotov cocktails. An 80-year-old woman was in line just making this stuff. Everybody is just it was all hands on deck.
Yeah.
Everybody was like trying to figure out what the thing, like people were building barricades. Again, just civilians. There's a certain point in time I remember it was a bit of trouble afterwards, but in the first days, because it's a chaos, they just opened the armory and they just started handing out rifles to civilians, and people were forming their own little territorial
protection
guards. Like you said, everybody was taking off the signs in every city, so people, so the Russian army, as they're trying to navigate places, they have no street signs to go based off of, right? And so on the refugee side, like everyone was trying to do whatever they could. From the United States, all these people were helping get those medical products. Like, so my dad is at Disney, right?
Yeah,
and a lot of he talked to a lot of his coworkers, and a lot of them were incredible about helping, first of all, get these medical supplies, right? And then it was even cooler when they were all getting the toys together for Christmas of that year. And like all those people kind of contributed to that. All his coworkers at Disney were just amazing. So again, like, first of all, it's life-saving supplies, medical supplies, all these tourniquets, Israeli bandages, quick clot. Like, we were getting that into the country, right? And then the toys, like the moral support for the kids. So it was pretty amazing. Also, remember the Jewish Center?
Oh yeah.
So our apartment again was in the kind of the Jewish quarter. Of Krakow, right? And so they had all these Jewish centers, and they were probably the most efficient help places. Even like when I had some, I guess, cousins come over the border, and they were staying with us, right? Because they're also fleeing. And that center was the place where they were able to find help find an apartment. Like, they helped them like organize and find an apartment. And like, because again, that history of what happened in Poland in World War II. And the Jewish Center was stepping up, like, we're going to help people. And that was very, very cool.
That was very good.
So everybody was stepping up, and so this whole time we're doing, we're trying to do what we can, a little volunteer work. Remember, we were making camouflage nets.
Oh yeah, we were, we were working at this place where you just can come again at any point. You don't have to stay long. As much as you can, you just come, you help, and they were doing this camouflage nets. You just basically have to take the pieces of fabric, put them together in a way that it's
so it's basically a net, and you take different colors, like green, browns, and grays, and you tie it onto this thing, and it creates this massive net that you can overlay on locations or tanks or stuff like that, so those things can't be seen as easily from like airplanes and whatever it is. And again, it's like a very simple little thing, but it's a crucial thing for, if you want to keep your boys alive out there. Their ability to cover their positions with this very low tech camouflage net, but is a lot of the people who were refugees, they were refugees, but they were like I'm gonna do my part. I'm gonna help sew and create tons of metrics, meters and meters and meters and meters of these camouflage nets.
And I'm gonna step out a little bit out of that as well. It's just important thing that happened is, obviously, I lost my job. Again, I work in a video. I worked on TV at that point in time, Ukrainian TV. I don't have a job. You keep your job, but it's barely enough for us to afford apartment, right? Some food. And then basically we were helping a lot, right? So at this point in time, I'm broke. We're kind of like at this point of view, right? We do not take anything from the help that they provide to Ukrainians, because we know that there's people who deserve more.
There's people who need it more.
And the thing happens that I really like. I really do believe in destiny and little things. And one of my friends, her name is Natsumi, Japanese. We met here at the film school, and we've been close friends. We've been talking, right? And what she does, she's still in Los Angeles at that point of time, and she's still in Los Angeles. I don't know why I said that. She did a post on Facebook to support me. She posted my picture. She wrote that I'm from Ukraine, that she has this close friend who is in Ukraine. That's what's happening in Ukraine. Please pay attention. Please help. This is my friend. It's real. Real people are there. Basically, that's the post she did in Facebook. Seems like nothing special, right? It was nice. I was touched by the fact that she did that. But what happened is, somehow one of her contacts, a Japanese TV station.
NHK. It's a pretty big.
NHK.
It's a huge TV station. It's like
It's a
their
big
CNN.
TV station, yeah. Basically saw this post by Natsumi, and they reached out to Natsumi and they said, wow, like, you know, somebody actually from Ukraine, can we reach them, because we want to do an episode about that. It's like we want to like put it on TV. So Natsumi said, of course, yes. She reached out to me. It's like, are you interested to do this? I said, of course, whatever brings attention, whatever helps. And we ended up being on a Japanese reality TV. Which
Well, it's not reality TV.
TV.
It's like they do this thing where they have people just use cell phones
Yeah.
to like document what is happening. Basically, they're trying to get like a from the ground perspective
Yeah.
of like, what is happening, because obviously you have like a kind of official news of
Yeah.
like, you know, cameramen running around.
Yeah.
But then you also have they're trying to capture
stories
the
of-
point of views of the people who are like in the city as it's being bombed. Like,
Yeah.
what is happening? What is life
Yeah.
like?
Yeah. So basically, we ended up filming this episode and we were still in Krakow. And that episode, interesting enough, it was still about COVID. It was about COVID and the war. So they kind of combined it together, and they want us to see like how basically crisis is happening, how everybody forgot about COVID right away. COVID ended the moment the war started.
Well, it didn't
right?
end, but it's just
Well, in our heads, it's just basically nobody cared about masks or like any
people stopped
protection.
worrying about precautions, but a lot of people
Yeah.
did get sick.
It's true. We'll get back to that. 'Cause it's also an important part.
Yeah, because I got super sick.
We both got super sick. My dad's life been saved by COVID,
Yeah,
which we'll circle back to it. Again,
Okay.
a lot of stuff happening at the same time, guys. We're trying to organize it and keep it together. But again, finishing with Natsumi, right? My friend, she got this thing for me, which first of all helped bring attention to the war, to the situation. They paid me money, which again, I kind of desperately needed at that point of time, because we had a lot of spendings, and again, we were helping, and then we were going through all this visa process. So it kind of like saved me, because I didn't have any other job, anything else. And till this time, we ended up doing 5 episodes,
yeah.
I think,
Basically,
on their TV, and we just recently finished the last one. It's
well,
like a
so
couple
basically,
months ago.
yeah, because they do like a check-in every, like on the
Yeah.
anniversary of the war,
Of the war, yeah.
and so they did a 2-year kind of
Yeah, special.
not special, but they're just
Yeah.
kind of checking on the story and what's going on.
Yeah. And it's just like
not
a-
only with you, but also with your family.
yeah, it was my family, it was me, it was people we know. And I just love the story how Natsumi, my friend, ended up basically, she was just a point of contact. Then they asked her to coordinate. That I think on episode 2 she was already the director
Yeah.
of the documentary.
And now she's a full-on documentarian.
She's a full-on documentarian.
She's been like full-on became a.
thanks to this little post on Facebook. So it's
That's
just
pretty wild,
I think
yeah.
it is wild, and I just I just love this story. I love how that happened, and how we basically helped each other. And,
Yeah, and like Destiny kind of came and showed.
Yeah.
Natsumi went through film school.
yeah, we're together.
You guys worked together in film school, but then after you kind of come out of film school, you're like, okay, what do I do next, right? And then kind of Destiny helped her find this road where
Yeah.
she's now like a legit documentarian, doing pieces for news organizations and stuff.
Yeah. Again, so that part of the story, I'm glad I mentioned it. I think it's very cool. Going back, we are in Poland, and I don't know, I will circle back to, I guess, my dad.
Yeah, I think that's probably that's a really important aspect of it. So yeah,
Okay,
because
so
we're like this whole time we're worried.
yeah, we're worried
so
because
worried.
my dad is in the army. He ended up in infantry, which is the worst place you can end up.
And infantry going to the front line.
Front line. Yeah.
And again, he's like, he had a stroke,
So his house is not
and
there. His
one side of his body is not
properly like
is not functioning properly.
yeah.
So he's like not like really able to do things.
yeah. So he's there, front line, crazy. They're like couple like I don't know blocks away from.
So basically,
actual-
there on the front line, there's the 0 line,
Yeah.
which is the front line.
Yeah.
Then you kind of have a second
Yeah.
kind of front line, third front line.
I think it was like on a third or something, but they were like constantly changing. So
Yeah,
people
because
are
basically you
extending.
rotate out. There's some people who are always at the front, right? But you
Yeah.
can't stay at the front too long because
Yeah,
it's stressful
it is.
and you need to rest. And
Yeah.
so, I don't know what the distances are between
Yeah.
them, but like then you
Yeah.
rotate back, and the people who are like behind you move in forward.
Yeah,
To basically try to hold the line. And at this point in time, it's rough, right? Because Russia has way more weapons,
yeah. Where more people,
way more artillery, and artillery is like the major
yeah.
killer, because you just lob bombs, and if you could throw enough of these bombs and they fall on top of people, and they have 10 times as much artillery as Ukraine, they were just carpet bombing. I don't know if that's the right term, but they were,
Okay,
it was very
yeah.
dangerous. So he's near the front line.
He's near the front line. He's there. Well, obviously, at that point of time, they didn't send him to the front. He was kind of helping on the kitchen. He was helping like whatever he could do at the back of the third line. And at some point of time, he gets COVID. He and his other
Well, because
mate.
because he was. I remember this. He was still on the because they sent him to training
Yeah.
first, right? And it was after training that he got COVID,
Maybe. Okay.
because he got moved to a different thing. And so
Yeah.
as after training he got COVID, because they were all packed up and they were like ready to go. Him and a few other people got
Yeah.
COVID, got sent to the hospital.
Yeah, so while he gets sent to the hospital with a couple other people, the whole brigade, they were all together. They've been sent somewhere. Again, I'm very bad with places and some point on map, right? And while my dad and a couple other people are in hospital, all that brigade dies, unfortunately.
Like so, everybody.
Everybody, so because it's been bombed, it's been sabotaged.
They're trying to
it's been-
just trying to hold the line as best they can, and the line is being held with blood.
Yes. So, miracle happens again, and COVID saves my dad's life. He's there, but it's not the end, because obviously nobody's letting them go anywhere.
In the early days, like again, they're just trying to hold the line as long as they can, because
Yeah.
we're still waiting for help from the West, right?
yeah.
For like, so for example, weapons, right? Eventually, the West was also helping train
Yeah.
new young recruits in Spain and in England, basically letting them go through boot camp in Spain or England, right? But until all those reserves and until those weapons
Yeah.
get to where they need to be, the people
Time.
the people in the early days, they're just trying to hold the line. They're
Yeah.
trying to get time,
Yeah.
and that was like the most brutal period of that.
Yeah. But not getting stuck there. Again, my dad is fine at that point of time. He gets sent to another point, which is relatively a little bit more safe. Going back to us, we are in Poland, and the interesting thing that was happening to us is, again, we didn't know how long we're gonna be there, how many people if we're expecting somebody, if not. Anyway, we had to keep moving apartments.
Yeah,
That was interesting because, again, there was no apartments available for a long time because a lot of people moving. We didn't know how long we're going to be staying, so there was no point for us to rent like long term, right? Or like find something long term. So basically we ended up moving places almost every week.
well, because we were getting places on Airbnb,
Yeah.
right, or booking,
Or booking, yeah.
and normally what happens is that places are booked
Yeah.
for a certain period of time, and they're open for a certain period of
Yeah.
time, and to get a place to be like open for an entire month is impossible.
Yeah.
So you end up like getting one place for like 1.5 weeks here, another place for another
Yeah.
like 5 days there, and we were constantly just moving from place to place in central Krakow.
Yeah, so basically we had to move. And again, the worst thing, not worst thing, but it was something that was bothering me a lot. And like, how long are we here? Why are we here? What are we doing? Like, what is our purpose of being here? And again, we were helping. I know we were trying to stay close to the border, but again, I didn't have a job at that point of time. You were working, and I was just sitting there like, what do I do now? And I tried to find a job, but again, I didn't know, again, how long are we going to be
Yeah.
here? Is this like full-time, permanent position, or are we going to move? Very difficult, to be in that situation.
And I know it was a little bit irrational because I was the one insisting that we stay.
Yeah.
But psychologically, like in my mind, is like we're not going to take another step back. Right.
Okay.
Like we're gonna stay close to the border. We're gonna stay close to Ukraine. We're gonna try to help.
Yeah.
Because it just, I don't know. It felt like if we like moved deeper into Europe somewhere,
What
like
would be more distant?
to go to Germany or Italy or Spain. And now all of a sudden, like this is like a vacation, but this is not supposed to be a vacation. This is and so I felt staying closer to the conflict. And again, there was that time like when my dad flew in.
Yeah.
Right. And we drove the medical supplies across the border, there, right? And so like most men are not allowed to leave, right? But fortunately, Americans, so since my dad is a citizen in the United States, so we were able to cross the border, basically deliver the boxes to somebody on that side, right? And then cross back and began staying next to the border. And even when we were doing that, the thing that was crazy to me was we got to the border and there's this massive line to get into Ukraine. And every single car is help being delivered.
Okay.
The traffic is like and there's people like there's like people driving from France, people driving from Germany. Just like there's like these routes were being formed of just people getting stuff to it. And so that's why
it was important to stay close.
Psychologically, it was important to stay close.
I do understand that, but at the same time, you have to understand me.
Okay, I know you need to stay busy.
Well, I'm the person, but it's okay. It's not about me
Okay.
at this point of time. But I was in this limbo, and I was losing it a little bit because again, there's craziness happening at home. So it's like I would rather be at home than here, and like why am I here? But anyway, we went through this. Going back to our visa process, sometime I don't know, 2 months in or something, right?
March 14th.
What, March 14th?
Is when we got approval.
Okay, so we got approval March 14th, but it still took time to like, you had to make appointments.
So basically, the way the process works is you get approved by the immigration service.
And then it sends to other department, right?
Right, which is under Homeland Security.
Yeah.
And then there's this additional process where you have to get the State Department to kind of approve you, and that's the process. So you've been approved to immigrate, right?
Yeah.
But you need to now go through medical exams, police background checks. There's all these different steps and an interview.
Yeah, interview is the last step.
Right, and interview. And normally the interview would be at the embassy.
Yeah.
In the capital of the country you're from.
Yeah.
But the U.S. embassy in Ukraine, moved out of Ukraine, right? And so it's not there anymore.
Yeah.
And so there's this whole process of like,
which is also time sensitive because like they give you a certain period of time that you need to accomplish all of that. So basically, the first thing I had to do is I had to make an appointment. They open up slots for you. They give you like a password, something to and you have to make an appointment with the embassy for your interview. Step one, right? So I go there and I see it's like I made appointment for June 2, I think, or something.
Well, first of all, you have to figure out where you're going to go.
Oh, yeah, because no. I think they let me know right away that cases of fiancés and marriage, they moved them to Germany.
To Frankfurt, okay.
To Frankfurt. And then because part of the embassy was in
Warsaw,
and this part, they for some reason, they decided to move to Germany, to Frankfurt. Okay, so they let me know that like you need to be there. I opened the slot and then, okay, so you have to like, you have this slot. Basically, I choose June 2. And then they send you like next details that you need to go through medical exam, right? And usually, again, you would go through medical exam only in certified hospital or like certified doctor.
Every country has like a doctor that is, or doctors that are certified by the United States government to conduct these exams. 1 or 2 doctors per country. Okay. And
I mean, usually it's not that hard, and then I'm like, okay, we're in Poland. I'm going to do my medical exam in Poland, and then we're going to go, or like I was thinking maybe even I alone go and just get interviewed, get it done. I called the medical place in Poland, and I'm like, hi, like I would like to make an appointment. I need a medical exam. They're like, yeah, sure. We have the open dates a year from now. A year. And I'm like, but I have like interview in like less than 3 weeks or something, right? Or like months or something. And I'm like, I need it like sooner. And they're like, sorry, we cannot help you. Like we were booked for a year ahead. Because again, at that point of time, United States opened this program that was allowing Ukrainians to go to the United States, United for Ukraine program. And they also have to go this medical exam thing. So everybody went together. But again, we read with you, we go and we research. And at this point of time, the government, they decided that, okay, it's okay if you get your medical exam in any European country,
right?
Just by certified doctor.
Because normally, if you're in Ukraine, you'd have to get it from the doctor
only in Ukraine
that's certified to conduct these examinations in Ukraine.
Yeah.
But now you can go to any country.
Yeah. Now they're like, it's a crisis. We understand. Go to any country. At this point of time, we're like, okay. So I start calling every European country's hospital. Because again, it's a time sensitive because I already made appointment. And again, it has to be done and it takes time, to do this medical exam. So I start calling, and I think the first appointment I met was in Chisinau. Is that how you pronounce it? In Moldova, right? I found this slot. Somebody told me, I was like, oh, I went through the medical exam there. So like, okay, but at that point of time, Moldova and this Pridnestrovia part is Transnistria goes through some weird things too, right? There's some stuff happening.
Well, yeah, because the Russian Empire also believes that Moldova is one of their lost lands that they must return.
Yeah.
Return to the mother.
Yeah.
To the motherland.
Anyway, so I made an appointment there, but I keep looking because, again, it's not the best case scenario to go there as well. And at some point, I managed to get myself an appointment in Prague, Czech Republic. Somehow, I just reached the clinic, and they're like, yeah, we can take you. It's cool. Like, it's fast. They had a lot of slots, but then I figured out why, because they were the most expensive clinic of all of them. My medical exam was $800. So just so you guys know. But they were open and ready to take me. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm like, okay, great. That works for me. At this point of time, I don't care. So I'm going to go, right? But another thing, you, at that point of time, overstayed more than...
Are we allowed to talk about that? Okay, so yeah, I wasn't illegal in Europe because I was not leaving Maryna alone.
Yeah, so he's like, I don't care.
And so normally for American citizens, you're able to go to Europe for 90 days every 6 months. So come there for 90 days, then you have to leave for 90 days, and you come back again for 90 days, and you can do that as much as you want, but within these parameters. But I'm not leaving. But I did discover something. So basically, I was not allowed to be in Europe, but I was allowed to be in Poland.
Which is still Europe.
Well, it is Europe, but so because Poland joined the Schengen area, right, later, and they already had a treaty with the United States. Essentially, they have this rule that you can stay in Poland for 90 days. Then you have to leave Poland for like 1 day.
Yeah.
And then you come back to Poland again for another 90 days. So it doesn't matter. You have to just leave the country. So I was okay to be in Poland. Yeah. Because I went back to Ukraine for like 5 hours when we were doing the medical supply delivery. Yeah. And so I had a stamp like I left the country and I came back into Poland. Yeah. And so I was okay to be in Poland, but I'm not allowed to be in any other European country.
Yeah. But I had my medical exam in Czech Republic. And at that point of time, I decided, okay, I'm going to fly there by myself for 1 day, get it done. But it takes a week to get results, right? So the first time I flew there, I passed it. Like I came back And then the time of the interview is coming, and my interview is in Frankfurt. My medical exam results are in Czech Republic, and we are in Krakow, Poland. So at this point of time, I'm like, okay, I gotta go. And you and me were, I think, sitting there and deciding either we're going together or I'm going by myself, and you're waiting for me in Poland. Yeah. And of course, my beautiful man says, I'm with you. I don't care. I'm illegal. I'm not letting you go alone. I'm not leaving you. Like, okay, happens whatever happens, right? So we can't take the plane at that point of time because he's illegal.
Because they would look at my passport, probably.
Yeah. Because he's illegal, so we have to take like buses, trains, I don't know, cars.
Ground transportation.
Ground transportation, because there's no checkpoints in between the European countries. Usually. Guys. Anyway, we make it safely to the Czech Republic.
To Prague, yeah.
To Prague. We spent 3 days there. It was great. Oh, we also at some point went to Vienna, but...
Okay, yeah, and there's also, you kind of put like a whole thing on this, because you also said that we needed to get to the interview, and then you also wanted to go back home to see your mom.
Well, at this
for her birthday.
Yes, for this point I decided it's my mom's 50th birthday. She's there alone
because your dad's in the army.
Because my dad is in the army. It's crazy. Hopefully, at this point in time, I was hoping that I'm getting the visa. So in my head, I made this plan. We're going there, making the show up for birthday, spending it with her, spend some time there, say goodbye to all my family again, because we kind of left like out of nowhere. And I think your plan was kind of, as soon as we get visa, we go to the United States, right? It was the idea.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I can't do that. Like, I want to see everybody. I want to say goodbye. And thank God I did. But
so the basic plan and the time limit of this story is that we have to make it to the Czech Republic to get your medical results. Yes. Then we have to make it to Frankfurt.
Yes.
Right? You have
June
to go
2nd.
You have to make it to this interview.
Yeah.
You have to pass this interview.
Yeah.
You have to wait for them to
actually print the visa.
To print the visa, put it in your passport. Then we have to somehow make it all the way back
to Ukraine,
to the Polish border, right? And to Ukraine all before June 10th. Which is your mom's birthday.
Yes. So anyway, okay, let's step back. We went to Czech Republic, got my medical exam. I'm perfectly healthy, beautiful,
vaccinated, all good.
They vaccinated me from everything. I don't know. Okay, we're on our way to Germany. And when did we got stopped? I don't remember at which point.
That was later. It was on the way.
Okay.
It was on the way.
Okay. Anyway, so we make it to the Frankfurt, which we did not like. I don't know. We were staying there again.
The hotel we stayed at wasn't
maybe at this point in time. Great. Gene also got this terrible allergies of some sort.
Yeah, something.
So we were not enjoying our time there anyway. And again, it's a day of the interview. I go there. I'm very nervous because again, my previous experience with the interview, we told it in the previous episode, took 3 years, and
we went to the interview. They put your visa on pause.
Yeah. So I'm very nervous, obviously, because I know that if I don't get this visa, I'm done. Mm-hmm. Like again, our case is great. Our love is true and happy, and but I'm still worried. I'm still freaking out.
And what you do for the visa, essentially, right? You basically put together a big
folder,
picture album.
It's a picture, text messages
of all the proof
present
of your relationship. So
our travels, yeah.
So airplane tickets when you guys are traveling, all the text messages,
yeah.
With the timestamps of showing your relationship, all the pictures of you together, with your families, and basically this big photo album of proof, we are actually a relationship.
So basically, me and this folder, we go into the embassy, and at that point of time, I don't think you were allowed to go with me to the interview.
I was not allowed to go into the building.
Yeah. So I go. Gene stays outside, and I disappear into the United States of America.
The consulate.
It's embassy.
Consulate.
Is it consulate?
Yeah.
Okay, consulate. Sorry. Anyway, I go there and I sit in line, and I kind of figure out that there is 4 other people except me was the same cases. I don't remember how I figured it out, but we were kind of like, we were all at the same window. We had same pretty much time slots. We were all with these huge binders. I remember there was a girl in front of me. She brought like this huge bag with actual presents, and like there was like, she brought like huge photo album. There was like some sort of like, I don't know, there was like, it was ridiculous. But anyway, there's 4 people except me, right? There was like a guy and I think 3 girls and me, and I was the last one in line. So I'm sitting there and I'm like watching all of them, you know, go before me, have an interview, and I think pretty much everybody got the visa. I think, again, I'm kind of judging from what I saw.
Well, you probably, if you got to that point in the process, I think, okay, maybe not.
I mean, again, you know, stuff happens. So, and then I'm sitting there, and I see the officer. It was a lady who is looking at the cases, right? She's flipping. I see from far away that it's our folder, like that we submitted, and she's sitting there, and I see that she's looking at me. And she's like, she figured out who I am from this folder. Like, she's looking at me, and I'm just like there, and you can't bring phones or anything into the embassy, right? So I'm just there, like, you know, and it takes her like an hour to go through like our paper. And she's looking and looking and looking, and I'm sitting there, and I know that she's looking at our case, and I'm like so nervous. I become more nervous. And again, it's bad to be nervous because, you know, people would think that you're lying or something, but I'm just genuinely getting nervous. And finally she calls me, and I go, and she starts asking me questions. Again, I don't remember all the questions, but, you know, it's like, how did you meet? What does he do? It's like, how you guys spend your time together. I don't know, some like random questions about our relationships, about genuine. It's like, is it genuine or not? And we're talking, and I'm telling everything, and showing pictures, explaining, like, you know, all the timelines, again, of our adventures and stuff. And, the point when she's like, when was the last time you saw your fiance? And I'm like, oh, well, he's right here. He's waiting for me outside. He's here all this time with me. And she's like, oh, okay. And then she's like, okay. So at this point of time, she kind of approves my, you know, visa, kind of. So I think, and I'm like, okay. She took this. She's like already looking through my passport. She's already like, okay. And then she's like, just like, so what are you going to do when you arrive to the United States? While she's looking at the passport, and she's asking me, and I'm like, well, I don't know. Like, I'll arrive. I'll probably look for a job. I'll probably like try to, and I'm trying to speak to her, like, you know, like tell some random stuff, what I'm going to do. She looks up at me, and she's like, and you're going to get married, right? And I completely forgot that I'm supposed to marry you. And I'm like, right. Yes, I will, for sure. Like, you know, she looks at me, she's like, okay, fine.
I think they have to ask that question because the border guard.
Well, gives you.
When we were coming into the United States, also asked that same question.
Yeah.
And he's like, and you're going to get married, right? In the next 90 days.
Yeah, because you have a 90 days limit to get married.
Because you have to like, you have to get it.
Yeah, this is like very important part that I completely forgot about. So I'm like, I'm going to start looking for a job. I'm going to start looking for a place. Like, I don't know, all this stuff, but not getting married. Anyway, but thank God visa gets approved. She gives me a piece of paper. I was happy. I come out. You're waiting for me. Like, you know what? I'm like, we're approved. Perfect. Celebrating. Well, it was kind of like she gave me the piece of paper that said nearly approved.
Okay.
Which kind of made me a little freaked out. But again, 2 days later, they printed out my passport and stuff. So.
And now we're rushing back.
Now we're rushing back to Ukraine, a war zone.
For your mother's birthday.
For my mother's birthday. I know, I'm crazy. I have this very close relationship with my mom, as you could probably understand already from all this time me speaking. And, you know, so I really want to be there for her birthday. I want to be there for my family. I want to say goodbye. I want to pack my stuff. Because, again, you need to understand, I left Ukraine in winter. It's like I only have winter clothes. I have my gimbal. You know, it's just like, that's it pretty much. So I was like, well, I'm gonna go pack, and like, I know you didn't want me to go, and like, you was like, oh, what do you need? You will buy everything new, like whatever, you don't need anything. But I was just like, most of all, I wanted to go see my family. but also kind of get some stuff like documents. Again, I was missing some
Yeah.
documents in the middle, and like it was like all weird.
Well, again, like we're heading back into the war zone
Yes,
from which
we run away.
we
Initially.
there's this, and obviously my folks weren't super happy with me going,
I remember.
but I was like, I gotta go.
Yeah, I remember your mom calling me. She called me and she was crying and she was asking me not to go, not to bring you there. And I was like, I'm sorry, but I have to go. I'm so sorry. And she was like,
Sorry, Mom.
Sorry. Anyway, we are on our way there, which was a ridiculous way, because I think at this point of time it's already June
8th.
8th.
And we have to get there
We
by
have
June
to
10th.
be there June 10. Strict, like I decided it in my head again. There was no strict limit, right, or anything. It's my mom's birthday. We could have been there later.
June 11th to June 12th.
But I'm like, no, we gotta be
Symbolically,
there.
you decided we have to be there June 10th.
Yes, and you hate me at this point of time, but whatever. After all we've been through.
All right, so we're on trains. We're on buses. We're going from Frankfurt to Berlin.
Yes, so we had to take a bus from Frankfurt to Berlin, or train.
Train from Frankfurt to Berlin.
Then train from
Then
Berlin.
bus from Berlin
Okay, he remembers it better.
to
than me.
Warsaw.
Then Warsaw to
Helm.
Helm.
And it's an important thing to know that the train tracks are different from Europe and kind of Eastern Europe, Soviet times. So they literally have to change the wheels on the train in this town called Helm to be able to transition into a different train size to go into kind of into Ukraine or anything that's kind of former Soviet Union. And so essentially there's this whole thing about you have to get the Helm, then switch trains to these old Soviet
train
clunker trains.
God forgive. And then Helm to Kiev. Finally.
And then Helm
so
to
it's
Kiev.
5 points.
5 points
and 2 days.
in 2 days.
Crazy. Anyway, somewhere on our way, when we're on a bus, so I believe
Berlin
it was
to Warsaw.
Berlin, Warsaw. There's no like border crossing like patrols or anything, but sometimes they would like do spot check. And guess what? They decide to spot check our.
So they pull
bus.
our bus over.
Yeah.
And they start checking every single person.
Start checking passports. And Gene, at this point of time, he's already kind of illegal in Europe.
Yeah. But I was hoping that like they wouldn't bother doing math.
Okay. We're hoping. Yeah.
Because like you have to do the math. You have to count like, okay, what is the 90 days from this standpoint?
Yeah.
And I had that second stamp.
Yeah.
From when I was delivering supplies into Ukraine, I entered Ukraine and I left. So I had a second stamp.
Yeah.
Even though I'd been there for more than 90 days.
Yeah.
So I was hoping like nobody would actually do the math.
Okay. And basically we're in this bus and we're like all the way in the end of the bus. So we're sitting and waiting there and we're just like, trying not to look suspicious.
I'm sweating.
To look like Gina's sweating. I'm sweating. I'm like, okay, are they going to pull us out? What if he has to fly? Then I'll fly later. Like I already start doing like math in my head. Like what do we do if they deport him? Anyway, and thank God, poor guy, but thank God there was like right before us, there was this Chinese guy, right? Or something.
Yeah,
And
I think either Chinese or Japanese.
Chinese or Japanese guy, thank you, guy. And something was wrong with his passport or visa or something. So they kind of stop and they're
they spend a lot of time trying to like
figure out what's happening with him. And then they kind of quickly go through our passports. They're like, oh, American, whatever. And they do not pay attention to his stuff.
Because they spent so much time figuring out whatever his situation was, which they figured it out and he was fine. But they spent so much time on that, they're like, oh, we got to move on.
Yeah. And we're like...
And it was the guy right in front of us.
Yeah, he was like sitting right in front of us. Anyway, that was like kind of tense moment, but we're like, okay, next. So anyway, we travel a lot. We're super tired. We like slept for a couple hours and somewhere in Warsaw. And
we make the Helm.
We make it to the Helm. We make it to our train. We're late, but
they hold the train
they hold the train for everybody who was coming. We make it to this train, and then I don't think Gene ever took a train in Ukraine, so he was genuinely surprised by what we had to go through on that train. You can speak about it.
Well, okay, I guess the part that was crazy was when we got to the border crossing, they shut the train off, and now we're in June. So February it's freezing cold. In June, it's hot, and they turn the train off, meaning no air conditioner, no nothing, and the train starts to become an oven. And there's old people on this train. There's like a lot of people, like there's like vulnerable people on this train, and for them to do all the border checks, it takes like
3-4 hours,
3 or 4 hours, and it was bad.
It was how.
It was like physically, it was like hotter than any sauna I've ever been in.
It was terrible, and they do not let people out of the train because you're at the border crossing, because you're not allowed to step out, right?
Because you might escape or something. Yeah,
right. So we're there for like 3 hours at that point, or like maybe 2 hours, and it's like interesting things starts happening. I think the first people who got out of the train were people with kids. They were like, "Fuck you. We're getting out. Our kids are hot. We do not care. We're gonna stand right in front of the train, but we are getting out." Right? There was like probably some crazy mother who was like,
"Yeah," because he says like it was dangerous.
It was dangerous.
How hot
so
it was.
They get out, right? Other people are still in train. The next group of people are people with animals. They were like, "Oh, kids can't go. Then our animals need to go to bathroom. I'm sorry. We're getting out." People were like, people with animals get out. Then after them, the smokers come.
The smokers
The smokers are like, "Oh, I'm going to pretend I have a puppy and go out for a smoke." So they go out. At this point of time, like the border people, the control, they're like trying to, make sure everybody's there. But at this point, like they gave up, and then obviously everybody left train at some point and is standing outside. But then they kind of had to push us all back because they had to go check the passports and stuff. Anyway, we survived that border crossing. It was very hot, very hard. Yeah. But after that, you kind of can sleep there, and it's kind of nice.
Yeah. The other thing that was interesting about the border crossing is when the lady came and she took your passport, and then she got a phone call, and then she was using your passport.
Yeah,
so the border guard was using it as a
fan.
As
yeah,
a
it
fan.
was my passport. It was so funny, and I'm just sitting there.
And I think that was on the Polish side.
Yeah,
she's Polish, right?
She was Polish.
Oh, because you have to get border checked twice, right?
Yeah,
you get checked
twice.
by the country you're leaving, and you're getting checked by the country you're coming in.
Yeah.
And then because I'm a guy, the border guard on the Ukrainian side was starting to grill me about who the hell are you?
Yeah.
When did you leave?
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Because
why are you coming here? Like, what are you? Yeah.
Well, because essentially there are men who did run away and they were successfully kind of cross the border out of
Ukraine.
And
again, if I can circle back a little bit, like to the very beginning when we were in Poland, again, me as a Ukrainian citizen, Ukrainian girl, was my fiance. Everybody was looking so suspicious at us. Because again, there's so much like not hate, but like people didn't like if men were able to escape while others are staying, right? So like me we kind of Ukrainians, because again, you wear all the Ukrainian symbolics and and they were looking at us and it's like, oh, this guy, and they like secretly hated you before they get to know that you're not
speaking,
a citizen.
If you're a Ukrainian man who's outside of Ukraine at this point in time, you probably either did something shady, or for example, like some men were abroad when the war started, like they were like on a work trip or something.
Yeah.
And that point in time, a lot of them didn't go back.
Yeah.
Because then they would never be able to get out.
Yeah.
And they chose to stay in Europe and wait for their family to come out.
Anyway, people secretly hated you. Just
okay. All right. No, that's understandable because again, there is a responsibility.
Yeah, of course.
Again, here in the United States right now, we're at peace, and there's nothing specific that's like threatening our borders. And the United States again is kind of we're isolated. We have two oceans on our sides, right? So we and we like the Canadians and we like the Mexicans, and so overall, I think we're okay. Like we have our allies are friendly, and we have two oceans on both sides.
Yeah.
So we never really here have to feel the kind of the threat of potentially somebody really invading the United States.
Yeah.
But in other places where an invasion is possible, when it happens, it's important to stand up and fight for your country.
Of course.
And so when people run, again, like I don't know if we can judge because everybody has to kind of make their own decisions, right?
We're not here to judge. We're just like explaining.
I guess probably the better way to say it is that there are people who are absolute heroes.
Yeah.
The ones who stepped up.
Yeah.
And we know some of them.
Yeah.
Some of them have died.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Some of them are still there, and they're still going, and they're tired, and they're cold.
Yeah.
And they need help, and like the help that the West and the United States and Europe are doing in terms of like just delivering like ammunition. I mean that like it all counts.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, so that whole thing where you're describing, like the guys who supposedly like got out, ran away. Like, okay, I don't know if we can judge them, but it highlights how important it is the people who didn't stand up, who didn't, who
stayed, who's still there,
who are still there.
That's true. A huge thank you, huge shout out, and we're supporting till this moment. We're trying to do everything we can to support and be grateful. Circling back.
Okay.
At this point of time.
Anyway, so we make it.
We make it to Ukraine.
The morning of your mother's birthday.
Morning of my mother's birthday.
50th birthday. She's ecstatic.
She's beautiful. She's so happy. I'm so happy. War's still happening, guys. Again, at that point of time, they pushed the Russian army out of the capital, out of the they're not circled.
Yeah. So Kiev was like partially encircled for a bit, but they were able to fight back.
Yeah.
They were able to really demolish a lot of the Russian army.
Yes.
The airborne troopers who came down on that first day we were talking about into the Hostomel airport, were wiped out by the Ukrainian army, right? Yeah. And a lot of the tanks and stuff, there's an advantage in the north, right? Because there's lots of forests and trees.
Yeah.
And essentially, what the guys were doing, they would hop out of the forest, armed with the U.S. provided Javelin, like rocket systems, and they would just take out every tank, and then just disappear into the forest.
Yeah.
In the south, it's harder because it's flat and there's no forest, there's nowhere to hide, and so it's like all open kind of battle. But they were able to push them back, and it was amazing.
We're very grateful. And circling back, sorry, I know it's important to talk about these things, but again, circling back to kind of love story and our story, we end up in Kiev, and we end up spending there 2 months, I believe. Again, by my tricks, you didn't know we're gonna be there for so long, but it was important for me. But at the same time, we were able to catch my friend's wedding that we mentioned, Nika and Svetoslav, and that was beautiful.
So yeah, as we mentioned, Svetoslav proposed to Nika.
Yeah, over the phone.
Over the phone, while he was, while he was in a place that he wasn't sure he was going to get out from.
Yes.
In his first days, he did not know if he was going to make it out.
Yeah.
And but she made it back. You delivered the dress.
I delivered the dress. I bought the dress for her because at some point we met again in Krakow on her way back to Ukraine, where we're still there.
And you were able to buy the dress.
And we looked at this dress, but I don't think she made a decision at that point of time. And she went back, and then she was like, "Oh, I really liked it. Can you buy it for me?" And I'm like, "Yes, I'm taking this responsibility." I bought the dress. I checked everything, and I'm on this wedding delivery, which again, our wedding never happened. And again, but I still care for my friend. I'm delivering her dress. I know it's an important moment for a girl. It's very important. And
so they had a beautiful wedding.
It was great.
It was lovely.
It was lovely. It was a great wedding. Again, still war happening. There is this, how do you call I keep forgetting words. I'm sorry. That at 9 p.m. everybody has to go.
Curfew.
Yeah.
So we're under martial law, right?
Yeah.
So there's a curfew. You're not allowed to be in the streets after 9 p.m. because they're worried about. Well, first of all, the cities are dark at night.
Yeah.
So like airplanes can't see you, missiles can't see you because they would use lights to be able to pinpoint,
navigate,
attack, and navigate. And they don't want, there's saboteurs.
Yeah.
And there's people working from the other side, potentially, who'd be out in the streets. And so the city, everybody, at 9 p.m., you cannot be outside.
Yeah, they were trying to
or you'll
catch
be arrested.
everybody.
Yeah.
Anyway, we make it to the wedding. The wedding till 9 p.m. It's great.
It was a great wedding. We started early. That was the important part.
We started early. It was great. Everybody had fun. There were air raid sirens. There were explosions, I think, at some point next morning or before. But, it hasn't stopped us from loving, living, celebrating life.
It was interesting because there was air raid sirens. We saw missile strikes.
Yeah.
Things were being hit.
Yeah.
Is happening. There's even in that Japanese TV thing. There's that segment.
Yeah.
That one day, me and your mother are in the kitchen,
Yeah.
and we see the missile strike and the plume rising kind of outside the window, and it's surreal because it doesn't feel real because it's like a stack of smoke rising up. It's just it's very strange.
Yeah. Interesting enough, I'm from Ukraine. I'm from Kiev. I was there in the beginning. I haven't seen a single explosion. I haven't.
Yeah. But you saw the
Excuse me?
the results of the explosions.
I did.
Because
see
the buildings that were burned down, that building next to you that has that massive hole in it from the missile strike that happened in the first few days.
Yes. Well, we saw that definitely. Anyway, we celebrated the wedding. We celebrated the birthday. And the most important part is we were there as my dad got out of the army. And again, it was a big fight. It's a separate story how my mom was fighting to help him get out. Because again, his physical health, right, is not there. He's not able to help. But again, at the same time, I understand that there's a lot of men who struggle and who are not healthy, but they're still there. It was hard.
It's basically hard to get
out.
To get medically released.
Yes,
because they needed every single person.
Man, there.
And but because of his stroke and the fact that his part of his body was paralyzed,
and he was constantly getting sick there because he got sick more than once, and another miracle happens, and they release my dad,
and we were able to be there too,
and we're there, and it was a beautiful moment. Everybody's reunited, kind of have as much happy as we can be at this stressful times, and at this point of time, I am packing my things. I don't know if I missed anything else important.
I mean,
Stop me.
The most important thing is your dad getting out.
Yes.
That was
so.
And the wedding.
Yes. So everybody's reunited. Everybody's at that point of time healthy, alive, together. I was able to say goodbye to everybody. We were able to, meet everybody. And we had to make our way again. There's no planes in Ukraine. Not so easy to go to the US, right? So we had to go this time to
Bucharest.
In
Romania. So we headed south instead of west this time.
Yes.
No.
And my parents decided to drive us there instead of taking the train because, again, they wanted to spend more time. They wanted personally delivered the package to the airport. And it was a great kind of little
road trip. Basically, us getting to Romania.
Yeah. We stopped in Chernivtsi.
Yeah.
It was great. Kind of walked around the town. And Chernivtsi is this town that is hidden behind the mountains, and it's really quiet. So there, it's the less possibility of getting hit is Chernivtsi. So it's the town that is calmest, the safest. Yeah, the farthest point, super close to the border. So, the safest point. So at that point of time, we all kind of were able to kind of catch the breath, and a little relax, let it go a little bit, have a little bit of fun. Even I don't know, just like even enjoy.
Well, essentially, like we took this road trip
Yeah.
all the way down to this final city
Yeah.
in the south.
Yeah.
We were with your dad and your mom. Your dad was released from the army, but he couldn't leave the country.
Yeah, he still couldn't leave the country, so
because he didn't have the medical, like you have to have paperwork if you're going to try to. So even though he's released from the army, he couldn't leave the country. So essentially, that was the last point where we were hanging out with your dad.
Yeah.
And then your mom had to drive us the rest of the way to Bucharest.
Yes.
And then we got there.
We got
on the airplane.
On a plane.
Your mom cried.
Of course she did. Sorry.
And this was August, what?
22.
August 22?
Yeah.
So the war starts
February.
24.
February, yes.
So March, April, May, June, July, August. So 6 months.
6 months. Anyway, this is a 6 months adventure and part of our whole dating.
Of you returning to LA.
And my returning to LA. And I think we're going to end the story at this point. And I can proudly say, and they lived happily ever after. Like in a fairy tale. But again, I'm sure we have a lot of adventures ahead of us. And a lot of good things, bad things. But it's our thing.
But still, yeah, one of the craziest roller coasters of my life.
Yes. Anyway, on this, I guess on this beautiful note, guys, if anybody wants to purchase a copyright to this beautiful story and make a feature film, please reach out to my producer. And anyway, I think this story deserves a movie. Let's say that, and maybe we'll make it one day.
Okay, we'll work on it.
Anyway, thank you for going on this crazy journey with us, and thank you for watching and listening. Just Fake It, coming to LA, and we're brought to you by Invoice Media. Thank you guys, and next time hopefully we'll be back with more nice stories. Nora's gonna be here, and see you next time.